familiar with blue and the charmed ones too on Charm Chats. Hello!
Hello!
And welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
And Kat!
Today we are covering episode 306, Primrose Empath.
Yeah. This one aired on November 9th, 2000.
Yes, it did.
And this is the 50th episode of Charmed.
What?
Yeah. Very excited about that.
Can't see me, but I'm dancing.
Yo.
I'm Ted dancing.
Gosh, I hope
I have gorgeous white hair and goddamn nerdy glasses and extremely bony frame.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, except for the glasses, none of that is true.
This is very accurate. I just love people who have names that are also kind of common words. Or gerunds. Wait, dancing is a gerund, right?
No clue.
No. Hang on. To dance is a verb. Dancing, I think that... I don't know grammar. I blame my middle school teachers. They assumed we already knew it, and so they didn't teach it to us.
Yeah, no clue.
I think we watched Grammar House Rock like 5 times, and that was about it.
All right.
She also skipped half of the songs, so...
How dare she?
Well, now I still have Mr. Morton memorized, but that's about it.
Okay.
Blue agrees.
Yep. I have a blue in my arms, so I can't even look it up and find out if you're right or not. So.
And I don't feel like it.
Yep. Anyway, so speaking of forgetting things.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about this episode. And as I was watching it.
And you also forgot it was Sunday today.
I did forget it was Sunday today. But I did not even remember this episode while I was watching it. Like, it never felt like a familiar anything to me. And so it was like I was watching it for the very first time. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I think I remembered the sequence of events in this more so than I have with, like, I think the previous episode, or maybe the episode before that. Because I constantly have I remember all the things that happened in this episode. I just don't associate them with this episode. But everything except the opening bit, I remembered as being from this episode once it got going. It was like, oh, right, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this is that person, and then this is that person, and hey, look, who's that?
Yeah, no. I had no clue what was happening, what was coming next. Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of things being familiar, one of our mutual friends posted a video that was a recording of one of those infomercials where they're selling you, like, a CD. Mm-hmm. And it was, like, a bunch of love songs.
Okay.
From the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And despite not knowing half of the groups / people writing the songs, the titles, or any of the lyrics, every single one of the songs, at bare minimum, I could remember the melody. I knew where it was going.
Hey, you know.
Because, as the title of the post said, 80s and 90s kids will know the joy of waking up in the middle of the night to this because you fell asleep watching TV.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, that's how my brain works. It doesn't remember words, it just remembers melodies. And then it will do that annoying thing where it segments them up to the point where I can't even figure out where it goes next. So, like, I'll get 2 seconds of something stuck in my head. I'm like, I don't know if it has words. I don't know what comes after that. But I know I've either sung it or played it, and that's all I have to go on. And then I have to figuratively whack myself in the head until I figure it out.
That's all right. Randomly, I will get the first, I think it's 15 notes of Ode to Joy stuck in my head. Mm-hmm. Because Ode to Joy was the only... like, one of only 2 songs that I learned how to play on the cello. Mm-hmm. And there was another song that started with the same first, like, 3 or 4 bars. Mm-hmm. And I have video of myself someplace where I thought it was Ode to Joy and I started playing with a smile on my face and then realized it was a song I didn't know and stopped playing with a smile.
What was it like?
I don't remember what it was now because I was in 6th grade. But
no, it wouldn't have been 1812 Overture. That's way too difficult for a 6th grader.
Yeah, no.
Especially, did you start in 6th grade, or did you start in 4th grade?
No, I started in 6th.
Okay.
Like, I only played cello for a year.
Okay. So, yeah, that would have been way too difficult.
Yeah, no. It was...
I'm just remembering some Tumblr posts where people are like, how could you say that Tchaikovsky wasn't gay? Who else would have the panache to put cannons in all of their works? It's like, you have a point. That is drama.
It is drama.
Of the height that we now see portrayed on popular television in RuPaul. That's some drama there.
Sure.
It's a lot of drama.
Okay.
I love their outfits.
All right.
They're whizzes with wigs. But anyway. Let's get on to the episode.
Yes. So, Primrose Empath, according to IMDb, is based on Shakespeare, but according to the Wikia, could also possibly be a reference to the movie The Primrose Path from 1925, which I believe is based on Shakespeare. Yeah. So either way, it's based on Shakespeare.
Everything comes back to the bard.
Yep. It is from Act 1, Scene 3 of Hamlet. And the line is, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads.
So basically, in layman's terms, fucking around?
Yeah, kind of. It is basically a life of pleasure leads to destruction.
Yes, which is why you must exercise constant vigilance.
Yes. I do enjoy the
punniness?
Yeah. I enjoy the punniness. I enjoy the Shakespeare nod. Mm-hmm. It's quite nice. Empathy, for anyone who is not aware, because not everybody has a clue, apparently, about empathy. It is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within the other person's frame of reference.
As opposed to sympathy, which is doing that from without.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will, of course, link to Shakespeare for the wiki and IMDb, because Shakespeare has an IMDb page. And
yeah, what's with that?
Because he is credited as a writer on a lot of stuff. But it was just very funny to me to find out. He would get a kick out of that. That he is...
He would get a kick out of a lot of shit.
On IMDb. Yeah. Yeah. I will also link to the wiki for Hamlet and the one for Empathy, just because.
I'm sure he'd get a huge kick out of the whole, like, Christopher Marlowe wrote all of his crap kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. It'd be very interesting.
He'd probably retort with some kind of dick joke.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's good at that.
He really is.
The whole, like, greatness thrust upon them thing. Dick joke.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Anyway. So,
what are we, Muppets?
Apparently.
Anyway, we start the episode in the kitchen at the manor. We get a shot of a fork with a white handle with some, like, vinies on it, and a painted plate. It's, like, painted with some kind of fruit, or, like, roses or some shit.
Yeah, I don't
It's remember. Like a platter, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, it pans up, and then we see Prue leaning over the kitchen island.
Yeah. She is wearing a long-sleeve purple shirt tucked into brownish purple pants, like they were like a purple...
Mauve?
Yeah, they were like a purple pant that's...
Like mauve taupey, kind of?
Had brown tone to it. With a brown belt that had, like, kind of at the back of it, like turquoise circles. Yeah. It was an interesting belt. Mm-hmm. Her hair is down and a bit wavy and parted in the center, and she is not wearing a bra because we can see the nipples through the cloth when she turns. Mm-hmm. Like...
In profile.
Yeah, like full like display.
The profiled nips.
Yeah, like even like the areola of the nip was like on display. It was very weird. It must have been very cold in the studio that day. Because full display even more than normal.
I don't know. It seemed about on par for me.
Mm. Anyway.
At least from my perspective, it seemed about on par.
Yeah. So, anyway, she flicks 2 fingers toward the fork, and we hear the sound that her telekinesis power makes, but the fork does not move. And then she cracks her knuckles and tries again, and again, nothing happens.
And then she does this cute thing where she, like, turns away, looks at the window, and then tries to sneak up on the fork to get it to move.
It was the funniest thing ever. It was like a little sneak attack of, like, I'm not paying attention, move!
Yeah, and it doesn't.
But
It
nothing
doesn't
happens.
work because Forks can't be startled.
Yeah, no, but it was some of the funniest acting.
It was real
in
cute.
that moment was like one of my favorite scenes in this entire episode because it was just like, and I will stick up on you.
Yeah. And then at this point, Phoebe walks into the kitchen and she's like fiddling with her outfit. She's got like a string that she's trying to figure out how to attach to her shirt.
Yeah, she's wearing a blue suede skirt with brown hem detail and
I can only
fringe
assume
at the
with
bottom.
matching shoes.
Yeah, I don't think we ever saw her feet, or if we did.
Well, no, because then she'd have blue suede shoes.
Yeah, no, but she didn't have blue suede shoes. I'm fairly certain.
Elvis will be so disappointed.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain at some point she wound up. I think she was wearing black shoes, but water blue,
yellow water. It's tough work being a tired pupper.
Mm-hmm. Loudest drinker ever.
At least he's not the messiest.
So true.
Chiquita is the messiest.
Chiquita is the messiest.
And time for cough because he drank too fast.
Come on.
No, Blue, you gotta stay, dipshit.
Blue.
You wanna come to Mama?
Fine, go to Mama.
Fine, go to Mama. Come here.
Fine.
Okay, come here. Okay, sit. Yes, I know. Sit. Okay, come on, lay. Lay. Blue regard. Lay. Good boy. Oh, yes, that's very sweet.
Yes. Anyway.
You gotta stay down, dipshit. Can you lay? Come on, lay. Good boy. Stay.
Okay. Anyway, so she's wearing a blue suede skirt with a brown hem detail and fringe at the bottom, and a tan handkerchief-style shirt with like beads and feathers hanging off of it.
Also made of suede.
Mm-hmm. And her hair is down and held back by a little brown headband.
And it looks like vaguely curled.
It's a little wavy.
Like she had it in rollers
overnight
maybe. Or something.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's honestly, it's an outfit I would expect Prue to wear because it's very Native American appropriative.
Yeah. It's that was kind
it's
of
like costume Pocahontas.
It was a style back in
I know
2000s was that like, you know.
I know, but like typically in this show Prue's been the one to do that kind of a style.
Yeah, well,
Phoebe.
Her belt is kind of native inspired, at least.
A little bit, vaguely. Much less than this, though.
Yeah, much less than this. Anyway,
the like leathery straps are supposed to cross across her back or something, and she's trying to figure out how to get the second one like through the loop or whatever.
Yeah, either that or it had broken or something. But
it didn't look broken to me. I spent way too much time figuring out, okay, how would that go in and where would she tie it? I'm just like, okay, let me figure this out because my brain wanted to.
Yeah. So she's having such an issue that she calls herself a fashion blunder and a Mademoiselle Don't.
And when she says Mademoiselle Don't, she puts like two fingers over her eyes, like she's supposed to be, like her eyes are supposed to be redacted to save face or something.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. So Mademoiselle was a women's magazine that was first published in 1935, and its final issue was in November of 2001. So it was even still a reference that made sense back in 2000 because Mademoiselle was still out. It was mostly a fashion magazine, but it also published short stories by some pretty notable authors, such as Truman Capote, William Faulkner, Tennessee Williams, and Sylvia Plath, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm. Before she stuck her head in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
That was her, right?
I believe so, yeah. In 1952, Sylvia Plath's short story Sunday at the Mintons won first prize and $500.
Were they good Mintons or bad Mintons?
I have no idea. It won first prize and $500, as well as publication in the magazine. And her experiences during the summer of 1953 as a guest editor at Mademoiselle proved to be the basis for her novel, The Bell Jar.
I gotta say, I'm really a little bit miffed with you that you completely ignored my badminton joke.
I absolutely ignored your badminton joke.
And then I have to sit here with that shit-eating grin on my face.
Mm-hmm. I completely ignored it.
Ah, you fucker.
Yep. Anyway, I will, of course, link to the wiki on the website for anyone who wants to know more about the magazine or see what other authors published in it. I'm not going to link to all of them. I'm just going to link to Mademoiselle. You can click through yourself.
Yeah, but once Phoebe is done with her self-tirade, she notices Prue attempting to move said fork, that it's not working, and she starts panicking slightly, and she's like, oh my god, did you lose your powers? And Prue replies, can't lose what you never had.
And then we see that she was actually Astral Prue as she disappears.
Yeah. Phoebe says to herself that she hates when Prue plays astral games, and I'm thinking, well, just wait until the reindeer get there, and then yells out, Marco!
And we see Prue in the attic as she yells back, Polo!
And I'm just like, there's no way you'd be able to hear her through all of that at that voice level.
Yeah, no, not so much. But, you know, we give them the artistic license in this case because it was funny. So, in this context, Marco Polo is an American form of tag. It's usually played in a swimming pool. And it shares its name with the 13th century Italian trader and explorer, but I'm not going to tangent on him.
And I do not know why the game shares the name.
I don't know either, but whoever is chosen as it closes their eyes and yells out, Marco. And then the other people yell back, Polo. And the person who is it, keeping their eyes closed, tries to tag one of the other players. If they get tagged, then they become it, and the whole thing continues until people get bored.
And see, I think it would be fun to call it echolocation. Person it yells echo, and everyone else yells location. They're literally transmitting their location. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I can see why you'd think that'd be hilarious.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I will link to the wiki for the game in case anyone wants to learn more. Mm-hmm. And if you want to learn more about the person Marco Polo, figure it out. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I provide some links because I'm crazy. I don't provide all links because I'm not that crazy.
Well, you're only a little bit masochistic.
Yeah.
You're not that masochistic.
Yeah. Trying to do the pictures.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're about a 3.
Mm-hmm. Trying to do the pictures. That became a thing, and I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And I apologize for anyone who wanted pictures, but I just can't. If we ever make enough on Patreon that we can hire somebody else, they can do the picture.
Sure.
Uh-huh. Anyway, so then we cut to the attic. Prue is sitting in a chair reading a book called The Power of Telekinesis by
Shelley?
Yeah, Shelley
It's spelled weird.
Robinette.
It's Shelley is spelled weird. It's like Chele.
Yeah. It's not a real book, but Robinette is the production assistant to producer Les Sheldon.
Is that their last name?
Yeah. Robinette.
Do you know their first name?
Shelley.
No, I mean the production assistant. Oh, that's the full name?
Les Sheldon.
No. The name of the production assistant.
Shelley Knapp Robinette.
Oh, really? That's their actual name.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe they just lifted the last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I read to you what I find on the wiki.
Okay. Anyway, Phoebe walks on in, and we learn that Prue has been trying to use her telekinesis while in astral form ever since she learned about Balthazar.
Phoebe says something about hating to find herself alone with him, and then she flops down in a chair and unenthusiastically says she has a lunch date with Cole.
Very uncharacteristically, Prue asks why Phoebe sounds like this is a bad thing.
Yeah, she says that lunch is a cheap imitation of dinner, and since they've already kissed, they should be on to candlelight dinners. Prue starts saying something before she cries out in pain and holds her hand against her jaw. Apparently, she has a toothache and a dentist appointment in an hour.
Gee, I wonder how this will come back into the story.
Mm-hmm. As Prue walks away, we see Phoebe looking at the picture of Balthazar in the Book of Shadows. I believe she mentioned something about Balthazar having bad skin, which was kind of funny. But I can't remember. I can't actually remember if that was in this episode or last episode.
I think it was previous to this.
I don't remember.
I think it was like right when they saw him and they were discussing.
No, I know. It was her and Prue talking.
That's what I'm saying. I think, no, maybe it wasn't, but maybe it was just them. I think that was in the process of them trying to identify who he was.
Yeah, I honestly
because apparently that page hadn't appeared in the book yet. But yeah, we time jump over to Prue, who's driving in her car through the construction-studded roads of San Francisco.
Yeah. She has added a denim jacket to her outfit.
Like, she's apparently going to a very, I'm gonna say, gentrified neighborhood or something, or a neighborhood in the process of gentrification, because, like, I guess that's where her dentist's office is, which is why there's all this fucking construction around.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot.
There is a lot of construction where she's driving, but who knows? She's on her way to the dentist, driving through this construction, and a police officer stops her, moves a traffic cone, and directs a bus to go forward. Cole then shimmers in somewhere out of sight.
Like to the side of the road or something.
Mm-hmm. He is in a black pinstripe suit with a blue shirt and tie.
Mm-hmm. As the bus passes in front of her, we see the banner that's on the side, and there's an image of a seatbelt, like an unclicked seatbelt, and it says, "Save the innocent." And I think there's more words on the other side.
Possibly,
but
yeah.
we don't really get to see them.
It probably says "buckle up" or something, like "buckle your kid" or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the words "save the innocent" are painted on the side, and then we see a construction arrow that's lit up pointing to the left. Cole flicks his hand and changes the arrow to now point to the right.
And the traffic officer notices nothing being wrong and somehow just decides to wave Prue to the right.
Yeah.
Instead of the left, where I think the arrow was supposed
originally
to direct her.
Pointing. Because
and
the
frankly,
sign behind him says detour to the left.
And there's no way Cole changed that.
Yeah. So, Prue drives to the right.
Although it would have been really funny if we just saw the thing, like, flip over.
It would have been kind of funny.
Like, rotate like those dudes with the spinny boards on the road.
Yes, but she would have noticed that a little bit more.
You can never figure out where the Quiznos is. They're too busy spinning it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, Prue drives on to the right, and then Cole shimmers out.
Apparently having completed his task or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we jump over to the manor.
Via exterior shot.
Mm-hmm, and we hear the phone ring.
Phoebe answers it from the bathroom, and she is now wearing a blue paisley print robe.
Her hair has not changed.
Yep.
I guess she decided that outfit was not good enough.
Yep. For a lunch date. Because, well, it wasn't that it wasn't good enough. She couldn't fix the strap, apparently.
She has definitely worn much more complicated things with many more straps.
Oh, yeah. But if that strap is broken, she's not going to wear it because,
I don't think it was broken. I just think she was frustrated and got fed up.
That could very well be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Prue has called to ask if Phoebe casts any give me a sign spells. Nice reference there.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe denies doing so, and Prue is reminded to get to the dentist.
Get thee to a dentist.
Yes. Prue approaches a construction worker holding a stop sign as a truck backs up.
We had the lovely beep, beep, beep of the truck backing up.
Yep.
And she tells Phoebe that she'll call her back, hangs up, and then looks out her driver's side window to see on a building
the words "Final Stop" painted on a building for an import-export company.
Which is a sign I've never seen painted on a brick building.
Yep. Nor have I.
It's an import-export company. I don't know much about those.
Exactly.
We don't really have them in Chicago anymore.
Yep. Very true.
Mm-hmm. Because we are lake-locked.
Yep. Then we jump a bit in time again as Prue walks up to a construction worker. He doesn't get a name, but he does have an IMDb credit as the foreman.
Mm-hmm.
So, he is played by Ty Upshaw. He started acting in 1995. He's mostly done single episodes of TV shows. He was on 6 different episodes of CSI between 2002 and 2005, playing law enforcement that may or may not have been the same character.
It might have been a couple of times, but
every time it was credited as something slightly different.
Yeah,
but it was all a law enforcement officer of some kind.
That's probably not the same character then.
Yeah. He took a bit of a break between 2005 and 2011, but he seems to still be acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the foreman assumes that Prue is social services because apparently there's a dude in the building who hasn't left his apartment in 4 years, and they're supposed to be tearing the place down.
Yeah, and then he just walks away, leaving Prue to go inside the building, where the sign on the door says, "Do not enter."
Yeah, there's like an eviction notice tacked on it. There's bars and shit. It's like one of those industrial loft apartment thingies.
Yep.
Which would be very in at the time, but I guess it was decrepit enough. Maybe it was literally just improved by squatters from the 70s.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Who knows the reasoning for them tearing it down? We never get a reasoning.
Yeah. We're going to fast track this scene a bit.
Yeah.
Prue gets to the apartment door inside the building. It is chained shut when she tries to open it.
Yep. She then uses her powers to unchain it from the outside, opens it up. She sees a guy crouched down across the room wearing dark jeans and a dark striped hoodie.
Anyway, he sees her and yells and runs to the other side of the room, curls into a ball, and begs her not to get any closer.
She tries to ask what's wrong. He says that she's letting in all of the pain and that he can even feel her toothache.
And then he starts crying that she should have left when he asked, and we go to opening credits.
Yep. And we find that there's no Daryl in this episode because he's not in the opening credits.
Oh, sad face.
Sad face. We come back from credits with an exterior shot of the manor, and we get a glimpse of the Swan Hitch as we pan up the building.
Leo and Piper in the living room unpacking newly purchased throw pillows for some reason.
Hey, you know, Piper is in black pants and a short sleeve blue sweater.
That's kind of cropped.
Down. Yeah, it was a little cropped. Her hair is down. Leo is in greenish tan pants and a black jacket over a sweater in like 3 different shades of blue.
And we're going to fast track this one too.
Yep.
They're having a bit of a spat because apparently Piper accidentally introduced Leo to her friend as her friend because she hadn't seen this person in a long time and she didn't want to explain the situation behind their engagement. And Leo's being salty about it. Piper
tells him that sometimes being magic takes the magic out of things and that she can't exactly tell people that she's engaged to a white lighter. Now can she?
Yeah, and he has no argument for this because there is no argument for this.
Yeah.
Prue walks into the living room with Cole right behind her.
Piper questions them being together and Prue's like, he pulled up right behind me. And I believe Cole says like, good timing or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Like, I love when he makes these cracks. And he does a couple more in the episode, but like he'll make this crack that, you know, is appropriate for the time in which it's made in front of, you know, the sisters or Leo or whatever. But it's like just subtly enough referencing some evil shit he's done, and you're just like, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
They don't, but we do.
Yep.
Phoebe walks on in, and now she's wearing what I can only describe as a modified tube top.
Yeah, it's a bright orange, off-the-shoulder crop top, and no bra, nipples on display.
It's like, but really, really like stridently ribbed.
Yeah.
And okay, so imagine a regular tube top. Now, cut a slit through the back and put your arms through the slit so that it goes over, like, so it's off the shoulder instead of just being around your boobs.
Yeah.
That's what she's wearing.
Yep. It was actually, it looked good on her.
Oh, yeah. And because it was, like, very spandexy, it was holding up the tatas very nicely.
Yeah.
You are getting a little bit of nip.
Yeah, and she has perky boobs.
And honestly, the fact, because this is horizontal ribbing, that's really making the nip a lot more obvious because it's disturbing the pattern of the stripes.
Yeah. But it's a good looking top on her. Like it actually worked with her skin coloring and her hair at this point. And it looked good.
Yeah.
It was a good looking outfit. She has paired this with a black skirt with a multicolored band at the hem. We don't see the bottom of the skirt at this point. And to be honest, the first time I saw it, I thought it was pants.
Yeah.
And then I saw that the band at the top goes down the center. And there's a little, like, pin that's holding it closed.
Yeah, like it's a wrap skirt of some kind.
And I went, okay, that means it's probably a skirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, she is also carrying an orange purse and what looks to be an orange sweater.
A matching orange sweater that is ribbed, but vertical this time.
She is being very matchy-matchy.
A little bit.
Prue mentions the guy in the building that's about to be torn down.
And Cole asks about there being a social worker. So Prue tells him that, you know, she was told the deputy was going to evict the guy, but he has nowhere to go. So Cole, being a lawyer, says that he'll make a call and see if he can get someone to do something about it.
Yeah.
He pats his pockets, which gets Piper to say, oh, use the phone in the kitchen.
Yeah. She just goes, kitchen. Which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, you know, and that, like, There's a phone on the other side of the house.
Back when it was totally plausible that you wouldn't be carrying around your phone everywhere.
Exactly.
Because, hey, not a lot of people had cell phones.
Yeah, but the reason that it's funny is because there's technically, if we look at where they're standing in the house, there should be a phone just directly behind them.
Uh-huh.
And she's just like, go to the kitchen on the other side of the house, because we have things to talk about we don't want you to know about. Go away, please. Thank you.
Yeah. That's handy.
Yep. So we cut to the kitchen as Cole walks in, and he picks up the phone and he dials a number, and then
we get a shot of his shadow connecting to his feet and then disconnecting from his feet as it walks around, and we see it go on the wall that has like all the spice jars and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of does the like and shuts off the phone to like scold the shadow, and he's like, no more reports to the triad until I know this has worked, you little stinker.
But the best part is that the shadow puts his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
Which just made me laugh so much.
It was very like evil Peter Pan.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I hold on. So yeah, it was a little bit Peter Pan. But so then he tells the shadow that he can't report to the triad, and then Phoebe comes in,
and you see him freeze.
Yeah,
you see both of them freeze.
The shadow like freezes and puts its arms down.
Yeah, and Cole is just like stopped and waiting, like the moment after I hear a dog bark in the neighborhood, and I'm waiting for Blue to react so I can tell him to shut up.
Yeah,
like that kind of tense. But Phoebe, seeing Cole holding the phone, just quickly explains, "Oh, Prue's tooth still hurts. I'm getting some aspirin."
Yeah.
And she grabs it, she opens the cupboard, grabs it, and then goes over to the fridge to get a bottle of water.
Yeah. And then she walks over to Cole, asks if he's okay, and gives him a kiss.
And he kind of just like shakes the phone and says he got disconnected as she leaves the room.
Yeah. She leaves the room past his shadow and doesn't even like acknowledge the fact that his shadow is in a weird place or
she just didn't
anything.
notice.
She didn't notice at all whatsoever. And she leaves, and he tells his shadow that if his plan doesn't work, then he can tell the triad. And we have one of my favorite moments ever with the shadow in this episode. The shadow just kind of bows his head like in defeat and walks back to his place and reattaches to his feet. And I swear to God, I think I love Cole's shadow more than I will ever love Cole. Because it is a character unto itself, and I don't remember how often this happens.
I honestly don't think it continues much past this point.
Oh, that's so sad. Because the shadow is some of the best work ever.
It's really good nonverbal work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like 3D work either. It's just like you get an outline, and that's it.
It's beautiful, and I enjoy it immensely.
But anyway, I can say the same of like Peter Pan's shadow.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's hilarious because it's trying to get away from him, and he's just like, "Nah, get back here."
Yeah. Anyway, so we cut back to the living room where Phoebe has handed Prue the water and the pills. All right, Blue. We can now see that her skirt has that same multicolored band at the bottom hem as well, so it basically goes around the whole like thing because it goes down the center. And she's wearing black fishnet stockings with neon yellow socks and black heels that my teenage self would describe as witch boots. Because they have
witch boots?
Yes, witch boots. Because they have that like slightly pointy front and a really pointy back heel.
Yeah.
Where it's like a triangle heel.
Okay. Yeah, it's a weird ensemble from the knee down.
It is a little, but it's not like distracting because it's a black skirt and there's a little bit of color in the stuff. But it was more the fishnet stockings with the neon yellow socks to go into the shoes. Yeah. But anyway,
Leo is explaining to the girls that the shut-in dude is probably a future empath, and I'm like, future?
Yes.
Future.
Yes.
Like, he's telling you how he feels all this pain, and you're like, yeah, in the future he's going to be an empath. I'm like, hey, Leo, I think you need to work on your tenses just a little.
No, because he actually says it that when he dies, he becomes an empath. That he gets the gift so that he can learn to use the gift, and then when he dies, he becomes an empath. And basically becomes immortal because he then becomes an empath. So, yeah. Anyway, when Piper wonders what an empath is, Leo gets to be an exposition machine.
Yep.
He says that empaths are mortals who can actually feel what other people feel, and that they use their sensitivity to guide mortals, ease their pain, and even to heal them.
Prue basically explains that the guy she saw was freaking out, that he was like a literal raw nerve.
Yeah. Leo says that he was probably rejecting the gift.
Prue wonders how they're supposed to help him. Phoebe's like, well, more importantly, where did all those signs come from? And then Cole walks back into the room.
Yeah. Cole gives Prue his card where he has written his pager number and says that if he leaves voluntarily, that someone at the housing authority can relocate our little shut-in dude. Mm-hmm. Prue takes the card, grabs her jacket, and goes to leave. And then Piper asks if she wants them to go with her, but she says that he could barely deal with one person, let alone 3, and then thanks them and leaves.
Mm-hmm. And then, as Cole and Phoebe get ready to leave for their lunch date, Leo shoehorns in on the thing. And he's like, hey, let's make it a double date. Do stuff in the real world. And he stares pointedly at Piper.
Yeah, and then, super subtle there, Leo.
Yeah. And,
Super subtle.
Cole just kind of looks over at Phoebe, and he's like, it's your choice.
Yeah. And Phoebe looks at Piper with this look of like, what are our men doing to us? And she goes, why not?
Yeah.
And they all head out. We then get an exterior shot of a staircase behind an iron gate with the name Crest Hill Psychiatric Hospital on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we see a man in a blue jacket and a woman in a tan jacket with a small backpack on her back walking up the stairs. And I am fairly certain that this is the same staircase and gate that went with the mental hospital with I think it had a different name back in episode 207, the one with Misha Collins in it.
Turns out, this is the same building.
Yep.
As in 207.
It is the exact same building, just with a different name.
And they've put a different sign over the gateway.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that it was,
It's just a really convenient location. Apparently, it's also been used to film a lot of other shows.
Yeah, probably.
Whenever they need a fairly imposing building with a gate.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so.
It might have also been used for Teen Wolf. It's giving me that vibe. But yeah.
Sure. I don't know. I haven't seen much of Teen Wolf. I think I watched the first season and that was about it.
Uh-huh. I don't think it was until season 3 or whatever.
Sure. Anyway, so inside we see an elderly man in a lovely blue sweater sitting in a chair reading a newspaper, and there's another man behind him standing kind of, next to him behind him, looking out the window, wearing a dark blue button-down shirt tucked into black pants under a dark gray sweater.
And I go, hey, it's him!
Yeah. I'll tell you about him in a minute.
Yeah. He
glances down, sees an article in the newspaper that the dude in the blue sweater is reading, and
it's got a picture of the shut-in dude from the building,
just like staring out the window. They got a picture of him who, as he was staring out the window at some point, apparently.
Yeah. And it's an article about how the building's about to be torn down.
Yep, and that the shut-in isn't leaving. He grabs the paper, runs over to a nurse, says that he has to leave, and we learn that his name is Father Thomas as the nurse tries to get him to relax.
And I'm like, hey, it's her.
Yep, I'll tell you about her in just a second. And Father Thomas says that he has to save the innocent, and that a couple of orderlies grab him to keep him from leaving. Now, both of these actors fall into the hey, that guy kind of category. Mm-hmm. The nurse is played by Wendy Worthington. She was born in 1954 in Memphis, Tennessee. She has been acting since 1991 and is still going strong.
Some people might remember her as the lunch lady in season 3, episode 18 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the one called Earshot, where Buffy gets infected by telepathic monsters and can hear thoughts, which is a very interesting thing that they had them in both episodes, which honestly I think happened around the same time. Like, I think that one might have been shot in 99 and this one was in 2000.
I honestly don't remember, but yeah, it is quite interesting.
It is hilarious. To me, anyway. But then, of course,
Father Thomas is played by Harry Groner. He was born in 1951 in Augsburg, Bavaria, Germany.
They got good cake up in there.
Okay. He has been acting since 1980, and he is still going strong.
And he was on 14 episodes of Buffy because he played the mayor.
Yes.
Mayor Richard Wilkins, the guy who is attempting to ascend into, like, a higher power and turns into a giant snake.
Yes.
He was a really fun character.
Yeah.
Super fun.
He wasn't bad. So,
well, he was evil.
Well, of course.
He was that kind of bad, but
yeah.
it was a well-written character.
Yeah. So, fun fact, Harry Groener, who plays our Father Thomas, portrayed the character of Tam Ulbrin in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation way back in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And Tam was a Betazoid, which is a race of empaths.
Telepaths, but yes.
Same.
Well,
both.
They do both.
Yeah, both. In that episode, Tam was overburdened by the thoughts and emotions of the humans around him because he was born with his empathic abilities turned on.
Oh yeah, he was
instead of getting them. Yeah, instead
which
of
is how
coming
Picard
at them,
pronounces that.
Yes, instead of coming at them at the time of puberty, like most Betazoids.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very interesting that we have
two actors
in this same scene in this same episode who
were both in similar plotted
things with empaths. Just putting that out there because it's fucking funny. I will link, of course, to both of their IMDb pages on the website.
Yeah, we jump back over to the building with the shut-in. Prue is there, and the deputy won't let her back in.
The deputy is played by Randy Thompson.
And he has that kind of face that you can't help but be annoyed by.
A little bit. He was born in 1954 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Hey!
He started acting in 1990, but he hasn't done anything since 2002. Mostly doing single episodes of TV shows, he did have a 4-episode run on Buffy just after this episode of Charmed.
That's funny that they have 3 different actors who were all on Buffy.
Yep. If you want to know which episodes, you'll just have to go to the website to find out, because I'll link to him, and then you can find out for yourself. There's 4 episodes.
4-episode run. Huh. That's a weird length for like a Buffy run.
Yeah. Right, Blue? Yeah. Anyway, Deputy tells Prue that he gave the guy a final eviction notice 2 weeks ago. Prue then shows him Cole's card, saying that she just needs to keep the guy out of jail, and the deputy gives her 3 minutes.
And I'm like, which floor does he live on? Because you're going to use most of those 3 minutes up walking there.
Well, this is San Francisco. They seem to be a walking people.
Yeah.
You know.
Lots of big cities have lots of walk-ups because so many of the buildings were built before the Americans with Disabilities Act.
There is that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
she thanks him and walks inside.
And then we cut inside where she once again uses her power to remove the door chain again. She walks in and we now see the guy sitting on a mattress on the floor.
Prue tells him that she took the effort to dull her toothache a little bit and that the deputy told her the guy's name is Vince.
So let me tell you about this actor. His name is Morgan Wesser. He was born in 1971 in Venice, California. He started acting in 1984 and hasn't done anything since 2010. He was on all 23 episodes of a show called Space Above and Beyond in 95-96. But he's mostly done single episodes of TV shows.
And weirdly enough, he starred with Shannon in a TV movie about Margaret Mitchell, who wrote Gone with the Wind in 1994.
Well, alrighty then.
Uh-huh. So they've probably met before. That movie also had Rue McClanahan.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Nice. Anyway, so now knowing that his first name is Vince, she asks what his last name is.
He tells her it's Misery, so she asks if he'd like some company.
Yeah.
And he stops and looks like to the side and he's like, that's not funny.
Yeah. So if you've never heard the phrase misery loves company, I envy you just a little. Mm-hmm. The phrase means people who are unhappy may get some consolation from knowing that others are also unhappy. Not to be confused with schadenfreude, which is laughing at other people's pain.
Yeah. Anyway, Vince seems kind of chiller than the last time they met.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason.
Yeah. So we're fast-tracking a lot in this episode.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do so.
Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of back and forth while Prue tries to get him to leave or for him to just accept his gift. and she uses some platitudes, and he kind of jabs at her to make her understand how much pain he feels all the time.
Yeah.
And he's, telling her stuff like, oh, yeah, you hide your emotions. I gotta feel them.
Yeah. And then the deputy pounds on the door because it's apparently been 3 minutes, and we get an insert shot of the door that he is pounding on with the chain still attached.
Yep.
Vince tells Prue that his quote-unquote gift is really a curse and he can't leave the apartment.
The deputy opens the door, which is mysteriously unchained now, and Prue is forced to use her power to hold it closed.
Much to the surprise of everyone who isn't her.
Yes. And, the dude playing the deputy does his best to act like the door is being shut on him, but he kind of holds it like a few inches open.
Yeah, it was like a good 2 or 3 inches wide at that point.
Yeah, anyway, Prue, more determined than ever, tells Vince that she was sent there to help him, and she's gonna fucking do that.
Yeah.
So she starts to say a spell, and he, from a crouch, just, reaches up and grabs her hand.
Yeah, she gets up the first line of the spell, and then he grabs her hand. So the spell that she says is, free the empath, release his gift, and this is when he grabs the hand, let his pain be cast adrift.
It's a weird couplet spell. Typically, they will be at least 4 lines.
Yeah, and this one was absolutely, you could tell she probably made it up either on the spot or
She's
as she was
rhymes
walking
with
up.
gift?
Yeah, as she was walking up the stairs, something, because it's not written down anywhere.
Nope.
She just says it. As soon as the spell is over, she stops holding the door shut, and it flies open.
And the deputy stumbles in, and Prue makes some excuse about how it's stuck on her, too.
Yeah.
And she hands Cole's card to Vince.
Yeah. He thanks her, saying that she doesn't know what she just did for him, and she leaves. And then he walks over to the deputy, giving him, a weird face. The deputy is like, what are you looking at? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he says that he wonders what the deputy is feeling right now.
When the deputy asks why, Vince grabs him by the neck, and the deputy's face starts to, turn red and burn, and we get some nice CGI smoke going up.
Yeah,
and it starts getting charred patches on his face.
Yeah,
and Vince is like, because I can't feel a thing.
Yeah, and the funniest part about the deputy's face burning with the red marks and black marks is that it's vaguely reminiscent of Balthazar's face.
A little bit.
It was, it's not exact.
Well, no, because there's a pattern on Balthazar's face.
Yeah, but it was vaguely reminiscent of that, red face with black spots all over. It was kind of funny that way.
Mm-hmm. And we head into commercial break.
Indeed.
Because that's what you do on a cliffhanger.
Yep. We come back inside a restaurant. No clue what restaurant.
Yeah, it's
some fancy kind of...
I wouldn't call it fancy.
Okay,
it's mid-upper range.
Yeah, it's not
more towards
casual.
The mid than the upper.
It's like business casual restaurant.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like business casual restaurant. It's extremely bland in decor.
Yeah.
So clearly, it's for those who come for the business casual.
Yes.
People walk over for lunch from the office, and then they go back. And for some reason, these regulars never learn the names of any of the wait staff because they don't bother. Mm-hmm. That kind of a place.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Leo, Phoebe, and Cole are all sitting at a table.
They seem to have finished lunch, but nobody's talking.
And they've all got those those quote-unquote wine-ish glasses of water.
Yeah. And they all kind of look...
super fucking awkward.
Yeah, they look like they've been sitting in silence for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
someone's tapping their fingers on the table.
Yeah.
I think it was probably Cole.
Possibly.
Or Phoebe. I don't know.
And then Phoebe tries to make small talk about a football team of the 49ers.
And when Cole has no idea what that even is, she turns to Piper and makes the joke, as Cole's drinking some water, that he's not even human.
Yeah. Because he had just taken a sip of the water, he winds up coughing and spitting it all over the table.
Because he panics for a hot second there.
Yeah. He then, snaps his fingers and calls for the check, which is bad manners and no one should ever do it.
No, don't do it.
Just saying.
If you want to get the waiter's attention, you stare at them, you maybe raise your hand.
Yeah. Never snap. Because that's how you get,
It's super disrespectful.
Yeah.
I snap to get my dog's attention.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work, I clap.
Yeah. You don't,
and when
you
that
don't
doesn't
snap
work,
at people.
And when that doesn't work, I call him a dipshit.
Yeah.
And none of those are at all polite for human usage, unless you're really good friends.
Yes, if you're really good friends
and they're not at work.
They're not, yeah, I was going to say, and they're not working at the time, then you're all right with it. As long as your friend is aware that you're going to do this to them. Like, you know, like I could probably do it to you, be like, hey. And it'd be all right.
Yeah, and see, she just got Blue's attention.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, anyway, Piper and Phoebe give each other a look, and then Phoebe's like, let's go to the bathroom. Bye, guys. See you in a bit.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Then they both, like, the boys both stand as the girls get up to walk off.
It was actually really sweet.
It was, and Cole initiated it.
Yeah, it was.
I think Leo was just following suit to not look like a dick.
No, I don't think so. I think it was more Leo was just a beat behind because he wasn't really sure what was happening.
I got the feeling like he saw Cole standing up to help Phoebe out of her chair to, like, be polite, and he's like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, no, I don't. Because of a scene we get later, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was just more he was just a beat behind because he wasn't really paying any attention.
Okay, it just looked more like following suit to me.
No. Anyway,
Piper and Phoebe walk out of view and down a ramp, and then they start chatting.
Yeah. Piper thinks that Phoebe is upset about them date crashing, but Phoebe says that her intuition is telling her that Cole is pulling away from her again.
And then we cut back to the guys at the table.
Because we can't stay in one place too long.
Nope. Where Leo takes this opportunity to give Cole a big brother speech about Phoebe.
It's basically the you hurt her, I'll hurt you speech without actually saying those words.
Yeah, and I got less of the I'll hurt you vibe from Leo. It was more like, we're really protective of her. Please be careful.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's the stereotypical speech that's usually the you hurt her, I'll break your legs sort of, you know, you break her heart, I'll break your legs, that kind of
without the break
thing.
Your legs.
Right. But that's like the stereotypical thing. But this is Leo. And so it's the please don't hurt her.
Yes.
It's much more a pleading thing as it is a threatening thing.
Yeah. Anyway, Phoebe and Piper come back to the table in record bathroom time, asking what they missed.
And Cole says that Leo was giving him investment advice.
And you just see Piper's face go, really? Sure he was.
Yeah, like, they're both just like, really? It was kind of funny. And then a waitress hands Cole the check, and she stands there, which this is how you know it's a TV show.
Yeah.
She stands there instead of walking away.
Yeah, and Cole hides his mouth from the girls with the checkbook.
Yeah, and stage whispers
to Leo that they should split it.
And Leo has, like, slight panic face as he goes to reach for his pocket.
He does the thing that Cole did earlier in the episode, which is where he pats his pockets to show that he's looking for the wallet. And then Piper, as she did earlier in the episode for Cole, covers for Leo.
Right.
And she's like, oh, honey, did you forget your wallet?
Again. That's the part that she says. Yeah, that's the part where it was like, oh, Piper, you could have just stopped. You didn't have to say the word again. But, like...
I don't know. Like, you kind of got to gauge the reaction like, oh, he's forgotten his wallet. That's weird. But her saying again is like, oh, this isn't a weird thing.
I
like,
get
this
that,
sometimes happens.
But again, when
I just feel like that makes it seem more ordinary for the person who isn't supposed to know he doesn't money.
No, and I get that. I totally get that. But again, like I said, we will have a scene a little later where my thoughts on this will make more sense. Mm-hmm. But we'll get there when we get there later. So she gives her credit card to the waitress, and I don't think that Cole actually puts a credit card in at all.
I think he did.
I don't think so, because then his pager goes off, and he says, I have to take this, and he gets up.
No, because he handed the thing to Piper. I presumed he'd already put his card in the folder.
But we don't see it. So it's that weird ground where it's kind of like reminiscent of when they were at the bookstore, where like there's the possibility of it happened slightly off camera.
Yeah, that's what I think happened.
See it. Yeah, but so
Cole's pager beeps and he stares at it and then excuses himself to respond to it.
And he gets up, and nobody else gets up, but they all kind of like stare at him as he walks away. And you could see this, like, fleeting look on Phoebe's face where it's like, is he going to kiss me as he walks away? No, all right. I told you he was pulling away. Like, it was that, like, just that one little moment where you could just see it all in her face. And it was very, very well acted.
Mm-hmm. That, or is he going to use this as an opportunity to slip away? Which would be really a jerk move.
It would. Mm-hmm. It would indeed.
Yeah, we cut over to Vince's apartment as Cole shimmers in. Vince is, like, washing his face in the sink or something.
Yeah, and he greets him as Balthazar. And then Cole, like, bends down to examine the body of the dead deputy.
Mm-hmm. Fast-tracking, once more, we learn that Cole was the one who told Vince to make physical contact during the spell, so that's how he knows him. Mm-hmm. And that Prue now has the empath's curse.
Mm-hmm.
We also learn that they don't think she'll last very long, because unlike Vince, she's mortal. And Cole has decided to be out of town so he doesn't have to see Piper and Phoebe go through the loss of Prue.
And I believe Vince says something like, compassion, that's new for you. You know.
And he just kind of like,
he's like,
smiles.
My business, fuck off, kind of thing. It was funny. Vince then mentions that Father Thomas was the one who cursed him, and he wants to take out his revenge on him.
But Cole grabs him and pushes him against one of these lovely brick walls.
Mm-hmm. And he says that he can't risk the witches finding out and trying to fix everything. Vince says that he's immune to the witch's powers.
But Cole's like, not mine, though.
Yeah. Vince takes this as the warning that it is, and Cole lets him go and shimmers out.
We jump over to Prue, who's at the dentist talking to the receptionist, who is played by Brittany Ishibashi, who I immediately recognize because she's currently in Marvel's Runaways.
Mm-hmm. She was born in 1980 in Orange, California. She started acting in 1999 and is still going strong. She did a lot of single episodes of TV shows.
Including Angel.
Mm-hmm. And in 2010, she was on an episode of Supernatural that led to a web series spin-off of Ghost Facers.
Yep.
Which was brilliant, and I loved it.
It was hilarious. Yeah. So in addition to being on Runaways, which is on Hulu, she's also in the Netflix series Grace and Frankie, which is about the two older ladies whose husbands leave them for each other.
See, I didn't even know that. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I might actually watch that show now.
Yeah, it's Martin Sheen and one of the guys from one of the Law and Order shows, I think.
Interesting.
Or some other lawyer show. I just see him and I'm like, you're a lawyer. And I know there's this one exchange where they're arguing about who's gayer. Like, they're playing gay men, and they're arguing about who is gayer. And Martin Sheen has the line of, if you were as gay as I am, you'd know that's a horrible idea.
Well, alrighty then.
It just makes me chuckle.
Anyway, so
there's a couple standing almost in the doorway of this dentist's office, and they're making googly eyes at each other. And,
they're all cuddly and cutesy and whatever. And as Prue is apologizing to our receptionist for missing her appointment, and she's asking if she can get the dentist to fit her in someplace.
And we get a shot that shows the butt of the girl who's cooing at her boyfriend, and in the background you see a blurry Prue.
Yeah.
And we see the guy's hand pinch the girl's butt. And Prue yelps and turns around.
Yeah, she kind of gasps, and the receptionist asks if she's okay, and she tries very hard to play it off like it's just the toothache, and the receptionist says that she'll try to get her in later that day.
And as Prue is trying to explain to the receptionist that she thinks her tooth is abscessed, she starts laughing. She's overcome with the giggles. There's even a snort in there.
Yeah, it was very funny.
And she's like, wait a second.
The best part is that Prue questions who's laughing. Like she goes, who's laughing? And she's like looking around, and then a door opens, and we see a woman lying in a dentist chair laughing her head off.
And the dentist in the room explains to Mrs. Freeman that the nitrous oxide is working. And we see Prue go, nitrous oxide? Laughing gas? And then the receptionist is like, I can fit you in at 4:15.
Yeah. It was a very funny little moment where it's just like, huh.
Wait a fucking second.
Yeah, and so she now has this appointment, 4:15, right? And Prue stops laughing and is like, it's okay. I have to go.
And she walks, as she's walking out the door, she walks past the guy and the girl, and she, with both hands, reaches down and grabs his ass.
Yeah, and the girl that this boy is with pushes him like he did something wrong. And we have a lovely little ADR line where you hear a male voice going, "What did I do?" Which was just brilliant.
Yep.
Because it's like, why are you pushing me? She grabbed my ass. Fuck you, Chico. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Come on, Prue. Consent.
I know, right? Anyway.
Back at the manor, Phoebe and Cole are standing at the front door.
Inside the manor.
The front door.
Yeah. Phoebe opens the door, but then immediately closes it and asks Cole if something is wrong.
And once again, we're going to fast track this shit.
Yeah. He says nothing is wrong. She thinks he's breaking up with her.
And he doesn't answer,
kind
so
of
that means he is.
Yeah. But says that she'll understand soon. And he opens the door to leave just as Prue walks up.
He walks past her out the door, and we hear this, like, whooshing sound effect.
Yeah, it was like a weird sound effect.
And she kind of shudders a little and, like, grabs her, like, puts her hand on her chest.
Yeah.
And then closes the door. Phoebe asks if she's okay, and she's like, "Oh, I haven't felt anything like that since Andy." Phoebe's like what? "Oh, spinning into infinity."
Yeah. Phoebe questions her, saying she's basically, trying to deal with a breakup.
And Prue tells her unequivocally that Cole is falling in love with her, and Phoebe is too. She surmises from the fact that Phoebe, hearing this, has her heart skip a beat.
Yeah. Prue grins, and then she and Phoebe walk into the kitchen where Leo and Piper are. Phoebe realizes that the spell that Prue cast to help the shut-in Vince backfired and turned Prue into an empath.
Leo is very worried about this turn of events. He asks how she knows, so Phoebe pinches Piper, and Prue
feels it.
Yelps, and then Piper pinches Phoebe back, and Prue yelps again. And there's it was great synchronized owls.
It was very nice. Yeah, it was very, very nicely done. I wonder how many takes that took.
Probably
to get it
like
perfect.
2 or 3. They're pretty good with that kind of shit.
Yeah. Prue explains, or tries to explain at least, that she was just trying to help an innocent.
And then realizes that she's feeling fear from someone and zeroes in on Leo.
Yeah. He explains that he's afraid that she's in danger because she's not able to handle this gift.
She tries to argue with him, saying that this can help her because her powers are tied to her emotions. This might be the power boost that she needs to fight Balthazar.
Yeah, and she thinks that because she was guided to help Vince, that she was maybe meant to have said gift.
Yes. She asks everyone to stop being so negative. Phoebe's like, we didn't say anything.
And Prue's like, yeah, but I can feel it. And then the TV in the kitchen blows up. And we have
get several continuity errors.
Yeah, continuity error.
Because as we see it blow up, like, the entire thing just goes out. Like, there's no glass in that screen.
There are basically 4 shots that we have of the TV blowing up. The first 2, the screen gets broken completely, and in the next 2, there's just a hole in the middle of the screen.
Like it got shot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a little thing, but it's super noticeable.
It really is. Piper screams and jumps. Leo asks what happened, and Prue's like, "Oh yeah, all of your doubts screaming in my head made me do that. I just need to go. I just need to go."
Yeah. I just need to walk away.
Phoebe starts to leave, saying she'll check the Book of Shadows for anything on empaths, but Prue's like, no. Go see your boo. Talk to him. Yeah. He'll be receptive.
You're dying to see Cole. Just go tell him how you feel, because he feels the same way.
Yes. You, my darling, head off to the bone zone, please.
Yeah.
And Phoebe tries to argue, but then, like, completely, like, switches tracks. Like, she starts to argue, and then she's like, "Oh, you really think so?"
Yeah. It's like, wait, you think he'd really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really cute.
It was adorable.
So they hug, and Phoebe leaves.
Yeah. And then Prue, Piper, and Leo start to walk out of the kitchen. Leo says that they'll help,
but Prue's like, "No, your couple issues are hurting my head."
And Leo questions it.
So,
and then,
respectively, Prue points to Leo and then Piper and says, "Resentment and denial."
Yeah.
And then tells them to be nice and heads upstairs.
Yeah. Piper asks Leo what he's resentful about, and this is the scene where we get the thing.
Yeah, apparently the fact that he wasn't able to pay for lunch humiliated him.
He says that Piper humiliated him by having to pay for lunch, because in the time period that he's from, men got up when women left the table, and men always paid for food.
And I'm just like, Leo, this was something you should have thought of when you actively force yourself into a double date situation.
Well, there is that. But we shall give Leo a small bit of a pass on that. Because...
I know, but, like, he couldn't have, talked to Piper and been like, hey, I don't have money, but we're going on a double date. So basically that means he was just expecting Cole to pay for the entire thing. Which is really rude, actually. Think about it. No, think about it. Like,
it is,
he forced Cole to invite them on a double date, and he expected Cole to pay for it. So then Cole's like, hey, let's split this. And now he's humiliated by the fact that he couldn't pay for it. I'm like, Leo, sweetie, it's just proof that even angels can be really goddamn rude.
I think it could have all been...
Honestly, I gotta chalk this up to slightly bad writing.
Well, yeah, it is a little bit bad writing. But it could have all been negated had Leo literally just been like, okay, you know how I don't have money? Could you hand me a 20 so that in case Cole is a dick and is like, hey, let's split this in front of the girls instead of, like being cool about it, I can at least pull out some cash and pay for it?
Yeah. I think it would have been more interesting if instead of Leo shoehorning in, maybe Cole had invited them, like, of his own volition. I get that it might have skewed it a little story-wise because they were, like, Leo and Piper were already having the argument about, like, not going out in the real world. Like, if he'd maybe made possibly, like, a passive-aggressive but otherwise completely inert comment about, hey, it's been a while since we had a lunch date. And then maybe Cole jumps in, he's like, well, hey, you want to join us? Because that would feed into the whole him pulling away from Phoebe. Yeah. Because that's not Leo instigating that. That's Cole doing it.
Yeah, very true.
Like, hey, let's separate each other. Like, this is not going to be an intimate thing in any way because A, it's lunch, B, it's a double date with your sister and her fiance that he doesn't know is a fiance. I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that would make the whole, hey, let's split this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, I get that.
It would take the assholery off of Leo and not really put it onto Cole, but it would take it off of Leo. But yeah, I think that would flow better as a story.
There are many ways that this could have been rewritten just slightly to be
more make sense.
Yeah, or at least make less nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a double negative.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they walk into the living room and they sit down on the couch as they apologize to each other and say that they'll try and figure it all out. And they start to kiss, and we hear Prue yell down from upstairs.
Not now, I have a headache.
Yeah, and they kind of stop and look at each other, slightly confused and a little annoyed.
Uh-huh.
And then we fade over to Cole. At his apartment, he is now wearing black pants and a belt, but is otherwise shirtless.
Yeah.
And he is packing a suitcase.
Mm-hmm. He's got lovely broad shoulders.
Mm-hmm. He's not my type.
Yeah. I was into it at the time.
Yeah.
And I was also like 13, so.
Well.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a knock on the door, and apparently this is a very, very small apartment.
Because it's like a bachelor apartment, like a studio.
And I'm just like, he's an ADA. He's making bank.
Not necessarily, but because this is San Francisco.
True,
he could be making a lot, but they're tiny apartments because San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway.
It's also kind of a boring apartment, honestly.
Well, yeah, but he walks like 5 steps from his bed to the door is basically what happens. It's a very tiny apartment.
Uh-huh.
And he answers the door to Phoebe, who has put on her orange sweater and zipped it up.
Like, almost all the way up.
Almost all the way. And for half a second, I thought it was a different shirt. Like, I didn't realize it was a zip-up sweater.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. Like, just the way that it happened to be sitting on her shoulder where it was just slightly, like, open at the collar.
Yeah, I hated these kinds of things.
It looked really good on her.
Yeah, I always hated these because they were never long enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like my shirts to be, like, hip length, not top of hip length.
Yeah. You want it at the middle of your hips, not at your belly button.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
I want it, actually, no, I pretty much want it, like, on my butt.
You want a dress, not a shirt.
Nah, I want something in between. Like something
you want a shress.
stress. I want a dirt.
There you go.
I like that one better.
You want a dirt.
Yeah. Anyway, he, smiling, asks what she's doing there, and she's like, oh, I came to tell you something.
Yeah, she walks in and then kisses him passionately. And his eyes are open for most of that kiss.
Yeah,
like
he's surprised, and then at one point, he kind of does an eye roll, but not like a ugh kind of eye roll, like a oh shit kind of eye roll.
Yeah, a little bit. But so his eyes are open for most of that kiss, and they start to close just at the end. And as the kiss ends, she says that she was always better at show than tell.
Oh, wait, no. I know what kind of eye roll. It's the kind of eye roll that Emma Stone does in Easy A when she's talking about lobster.
Yes.
It's that.
Oh, God.
It's that eye roll.
Yes.
It's the yum eye roll.
Nice. Nice.
I knew I recognized it from somewhere.
Nice. That is a beautiful image right there. Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she says that she's better at show than at tell. They go back to kissing.
And he picks her up and, like,
wraps her legs around his waist and, like, closes the door. And they, like, lean against the door. And he breaks away from the kiss just long enough to say that she has no idea what she's getting into.
And she's like, neither do you.
Yeah, and then they go back to kissing and we go to commercial break.
Yep. So you know the fucking...
Yeah, because when we come back from commercial break...
she's managed to move herself out of the friend zone and into the bone zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we come back to Cole and Phoebe in the bed the next morning.
Yep. She's supposedly asleep. He is awake, but he touches her hair and, like, kisses her shoulder, and she immediately wakes up. There's some cutesy pillow talk about the night being magical.
And there's a really great moment where she just reaches up her palm and rubs her nose in a circular motion. And it was adorable.
Yeah.
She's still wearing both her bracelet and her watch, by the way.
Right, but she is apparently topless because she is clutching the blanket to her boobs.
And her hair looks nicely rumpled.
Yeah. She says something about not wanting to leave the room.
And then spots the suitcase under the window and asks Cole if he's going somewhere.
He says that he might be, but he's not sure. And she tells him that if there's this... okay, so she basically says he doesn't have to hide anything from her. But the way that she says it... Yeah, but the way that she says it is, if you're hiding anything, you don't have to hide anything from me. And she says it in, like, baby talk.
Yeah, it was a weird pitch.
Yeah, it was like that, like, cutesy voice that, like, some really annoying couples do.
Yeah, she kind of regressed in age a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Not, like, in a bad way, but just in a weird way.
It almost annoyed me.
Yeah.
Almost.
It was that cutesy couple thing where
it sounded placating.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like placating. Just a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, she asks him if he's in trouble, and he's like, oh, I can handle it. She's like, I can help. And he's like, no, you can't. Yeah. So they kiss, and he's like, I gotta go. And he sits up and is kind of facing away from her when she asks if she's going to see him again. He kind of turns back, and he's like, one way or another, I promise.
Yeah, and, like, he then leaves her looking confused, sitting in his bed. And we cut over to an exterior shot of a church. And it looks to be the same church where Piper was freaking out about getting struck by lightning or whatever. Mm-hmm. If she tried to enter without, right after she found out she was a witch.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is the same church, but it looks like the same staircase and door.
Yeah, something like that.
It probably is because they don't have a whole lot of places to do things.
They like to recycle their filming locations a lot. Which
Inside,
is how we end up with Buckland's being every office building ever.
Yes.
Inside, Vince, who is now wearing a blue hoodie under a tan jacket, pushes some gray-haired woman against a wall.
Yeah, she has a little
neckerchief.
Neckerchief. Yeah. It was interesting. He demands to know where Father Thomas went. She says that he's at Crest Hills, the psychiatric hospital.
I'm very intrigued that she doesn't even, try to not answer.
Well, he's pushing her against a wall. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that she probably did try not to answer at least once. And then he's just like, fucking tell me, bitch, and pushed her against a wall.
Maybe.
You know.
Anyway, Vince thinks that if he could still feel anything, he'd enjoy that irony.
Yeah. He asks why Father Thomas is there, and she says that he had a nervous breakdown 3 years prior due to losing his gift to help people. Vince thanks her by grabbing her around the neck and burning her face.
And killing her.
Yes. We cut back over to the manor via exterior shot from the base of the stairs.
Prue is crouched down on the floor in the corner, the Book of Shadows at her feet, and she's holding her head.
And she's still in the same clothes as the day before.
And we hear lots of 80-yard sounds of people yelling at other people.
We get an
about,
exterior...
like, marriages and, like, I want a divorce. And
yeah.
it sounds... It not only sounds like canned voices, it sounds like canned dialogue.
Well, yes. We get an exterior shot of a white building that I
In
know
brine.
we've seen before.
Canned in brine. Or possibly light syrup.
Anyway, we get an exterior shot of a white building that I know we've seen before. It's that one
yeah,
it's
from
on
the
the
dreams.
corner. Yeah, where it was on the corner with the circular, like...
Yeah, the one without bars on the window that someone is supposed to have dropped out of.
Yeah. Then we get a shot of a random Victorian, a quick shot back of Prue holding her head,
and
then a shot of a larger Victorian on a corner, and then the sounds of a baby crying as we see the roof of yet another Victorian.
I think that was the one from the Shapeshifter episode.
Possibly.
Down the street.
Possibly. It's the one with the elaborate weather vane.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Prue clutching her head and doing some lovely overacting that doesn't feel like overacting.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, she's already crying.
Yeah.
And we hear footsteps as Piper and Leo come down the stairs because they've apparently heard her, like, moaning or whimpering or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Piper is now in a red silk robe, and Leo is in a white t-shirt and blue gingham boxers.
And they're asking why Prue's in the basement.
Yeah.
And so Prue, like, stands up, and again, she's, like, actively crying.
Yeah, there are tears in her eyes.
And she's, like, having trouble speaking.
Yeah.
Like, she's so upset.
She says that she's trying to escape the emotions that she's feeling from everywhere. Leo asks what she means, and Prue says that she's feeling all of the emotions from people in other houses, and it hurts both her head and her heart.
Mm-hmm. And as Piper moves towards her, Prue backs into the corner and, like, reaches out and begs her not to, like get any closer.
Yeah, no contact. Prue sits in the corner and cries, saying that it's hard to concentrate or even talk.
And as she's explaining that her head feels like it's splitting, we get a shot of the ceiling and the beams in the basement ceiling crack and, like, come down a little bit.
And, like, the light fixture explodes a little bit. And legitimately, my very first thought was, well, that's going to cost money to fix.
I know, but it's only the ceiling. It's technically under the stairs, I think.
I don't know where it was, but...
Well, because if you go straight back from the front door, you hit the dining room, you make a left, you're in the kitchen, you make another left, you're heading toward the basement, and that's where they are, and that ends up being underneath the stairs.
Yeah, where the bathroom that's no longer a bathroom.
Yeah.
The bathroom that no longer exists because...
The closet. So it's really just affecting the closet floor.
Anyway, so Leo says that the more she feels, the more powerful she becomes, and Piper decides that it's time to return this gift to whence it came.
Yes. And so she, like, forcefully walks up to Prue and kind of drags her up.
Yeah, they try to be as delicate as they can. They're like, it's okay, and they pull Prue up. And we fade dissolve to outside Vince's place.
There's a bunch of police cars, construction stuff.
And caution tape.
Yep.
Yeah. Piper and Leo are standing outside as a cab pulls up and Phoebe gets out. Piper is in a high-necked red shirt and a red jacket with black pants, and her hair is pulled into a ponytail using a clip barrette.
Nice.
And I looked at that and went, she must have thin hair. Because there is no way that a clip barrette can... Either that or it was pulled into a ponytail and then the barrette was just fed through.
Probably.
Like right above it.
Also, I'm pretty sure they have types of barrettes that
have
look like the clip and have the ponytail holder.
That could be as well.
I think I recall having one of those.
That could be as well. Because I just looked at that and went, there is no way that my hair would ever be able to be held up.
No.
Like, not even half up with just a barrette.
Yeah, and your hair is much thinner than...
My hair is super thin, but I have a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's just a digression. I apologize. Leo is in a greenish-gray shirt that's got like a zipper V-neck collar.
Yeah.
And the zipper is down. And he's got a tan collared vest over top of it and black pants. Phoebe is in the same clothes as the day before, but she has now pulled her hair into a ponytail and she still has the headband on.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, Piper asks where Phoebe was, and Phoebe's like, I was at Kohl's.
And then they have a cute sister moment.
Really cute. And Piper asks questions that really don't ask anything.
And Phoebe just kind of answers with the affirmative, like,
And then Leo gets embarrassed.
It was adorable. It was like, did you? Did you?
And
like,
he, yeah.
Exactly. It was so adorable. And then Leo's like, okay, we can talk about this later. And then Phoebe asks where Prue is. And Piper says that she is waiting in the car. And we see people wearing blue jumpsuits that say coroner taking a body on a stretcher into an ambulance.
Yeah.
Cut to Piper, Phoebe, and Leo walking up the stairs because...
How did they get in?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they froze shit.
Probably, but we don't see it.
Phoebe tells them... Thank you, Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe tells them that Cole told her Vince never called.
Piper realizes that Vince is probably, a demon. And Leo realizes that she's probably right because the empathic gift didn't kill him.
Yep. Piper tells him they should stop calling it a gift.
Yeah. And Leo says that a true empath probably gave it to Vince so that he'd feel the pain that he inflicts.
And they all walk into the room, and not 3 steps in, Phoebe does the, jump breath and has a premonition of Vince killing the deputy, then the woman at the church, and then walking into the psychiatric hospital and killing the man we know as Father Thomas.
Yeah, she gets a view of him, walking down a sidewalk and kind of glancing behind him, and then walking through the gate.
Yeah.
It was just really?
It needed to establish a place.
Yeah, it was just funny in that moment where we're just like, oh, all right, sure, got it. Uh-huh. They go quickly back out into the hall.
And Phoebe's like, oh, he's definitely a demon.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Piper questions how she had a premonition without touching anything.
And Leo kind of looks behind him and he's like, that room must be dripping with psychic remnants.
Yep. Phoebe then tells them what she saw, saying that he seems to be on a mission, not just, killing people willy-nilly.
Yeah, and she admits that she doesn't know whether or not all of these murders have happened yet. She knows the deputy has. She doesn't know if the other 2 have.
Right.
So Leo's like, okay, well, what was the last one? She's like, oh, it was at some place called Crest Hills.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great, let's go there.
Yeah, so they decide to go there, and we have a quick cut to Prue, who is sweating and panting in the back seat of a car with all of its windows down. For some reason.
Well, you don't leave a dog in the car unless you roll the window a little bit down.
No, it was just more of the, why did they bring her to... I understand that they brought her so that she could deal with Vince, but it was just one of those where it was just it's kind of in that same vein of why do they keep leaving people alone in their house?
Yeah.
It's why did they just leave her alone in the middle of a construction site?
I feel like it would have raised more questions for people seeing them dragging a hysterical woman behind them.
I guess so, but it was more just the
and there were too many people. They probably parked and they're like, well, Prue's basically catatonic at this point, so I don't think she'll leave the car.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was just slightly odd.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. You can leave a sleeping kid in the car to go in the convenience store for half a second. It's not a good idea.
You don't do that. That's how you get your kids stolen. Idea.
Yeah.
That is an episode of Criminal Minds just that has already happened.
Yep.
I'm fairly sure.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we then
Half of those are based in reality.
Oh, absolutely. We then get an exterior shot of Crest Hill Psychiatric Hospital, and the same man in the blue jacket and the woman in the tan jacket with the backpack are walking up the stairs.
Well, yeah, they were like, nah, we got this shit already. Let's just recycle it. No one's gonna notice.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I probably... Nope, I can't even lie with a straight face, because I absolutely would have noticed this if I remembered this episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, but to be completely fair, though, I understand through a monetary perspective why they reuse these shots.
I was like, they're already there. They might as well shoot for 4 seconds instead of 2.
This is again where I question why they didn't just reuse the same place as the last time we saw this place and just reuse those shots. And the only thing I can think of is that it was maybe a different writer or different, DP or whatever, that they were like, well, let's not do that. See, like, literally the only reason I can think of why they would have changed it, because they could have absolutely just had it as the same place, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, and maybe not, because the last one was a convalescent home, and this one's supposed to be a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's just, thoughts and stuff.
Inside, anyway. Piper and Leo are standing behind Phoebe as she's at the, front reception desk signing in.
And the nurse from earlier is sitting there, and she asks who they're visiting.
Is it the nurse from earlier?
Yep, it's the same nurse.
Okay, what? I felt like it was a different woman for some reason.
Same nurse.
But anyway, she asks who they're visiting, and Phoebe's like, "Our father."
And the nurse asks his
I'm
name.
Like, "Who art in heaven?"
Yeah. The nurse asks his name, and Phoebe says, "Dad?" With that question of I don't know my father's real name because I just 3. Dad. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
and then the nurse starts to say that they can't let you in.
Yeah, so
whatever.
Phoebe kind of sighs, turns around, and makes a hand gesture, and Piper freezes the nurse.
Yeah. So they then, thank you, Blue. They then walk over to Prue, who is sitting on a bench nearby. And Leo says that Prue should wait there, but Prue says that she needs to be there to reverse the spell if Vince shows up.
Which is solid reasoning.
Honestly. Yeah, it is totally.
They walk into, the day room where all the patients are.
And this is where my quick, my thought process is of they have now frozen this nurse. So when they walk away, this nurse is going to unfreeze and they will have all disappeared.
Yeah.
In a psychiatric hospital. Just saying.
I gotta say, honestly, that's probably the best place they could expect to get away with that kind of shit.
Yeah, it was just one of those moments where you're just like, uh-huh. And you can, I can just see the headcanon of the nurse going there were just people here, right? Fuck, should I check myself into the hospital I'm working at? Because there were just people here and now they're gone. It was, because it's never, mentioned at all. There's no sort of anything as to the nurse freaking out and being where did those people go? Nothing. Mm-hmm. It's just we go on to the next scene where they walk into where all the patients are. It was just funny to me.
Yeah. And we get another shot of Father Thomas leaning against the wall looking out the window again as he was before.
Yeah, and one of the extras in the background, sitting at a table playing checkers or something, is a dude, a slightly, pudgy dude with a long white beard, wearing long sleeve black shirt and dark pants and socks with sandals and white gloves and a Santa hat.
Give it a month and a half and we can put him on trial.
Mm-hmm.
Hot miracle on 34th Street, ref. Woo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just thought it was funny that they had this random dude dressed as Santa on vacay. It was just all right, sure. Yeah. Phoebe recognizes Father Thomas from her premonition.
Leo sits Prue down on a chair, and she kind of is surprised when her butt hits it, which I thought was really good acting.
Yeah, a little bit. And then Phoebe and Piper go over to Father Thomas.
Phoebe asks him if he's an empath, and he's like, "You don't have to humor me."
Yeah, Piper says that they're not doctors or patients, and she kind of looks around a moment and goes, "We're witches."
Yeah.
And she says that they're looking for the empath who cursed the demon.
Once again, we're going to fast track this shit.
Yep. Father Thomas says that the demon is named Vincerus, and he is timeless and unstoppable. He is an assassin. Dun, dun, dun.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
He says that he cursed himself and Vincerus when he gave the empath gift to the demon, because now he's on Earth for eternity with no reason for being there.
Yeah. Piper says that they can give him reason again. He says that he saw in the paper about the building that they need to safely relocate said demon.
And the second that, I think it was Phoebe mentions that, Prue...
About that.
He gets angry at them, and they tell him that Prue cast a spell on him. And he's like, shit.
Well, great. Now nobody can stop him. Yeah.
So Prue starts feeling his anger, and she starts freaking out and, clutching her head, moving her hair, and, bringing one knee and then the other up.
Again, it's that overacting that doesn't feel like overacting.
Because they're going, like, kind of tight in on, like, they're going medium and then tight in on her, and then we're flashing around the room to see, like, shit moving.
Yeah, like, the whole room starts shaking, and the patients start running around and screaming, and we never see Santa again.
No.
Though we do see the table that he was sitting on, because I'm not going to tangent on it, but I found it amazing that one of the board games on the table that he had been sitting at in a mental hospital was the Goosebumps board game, which is based on a children's horror book by R.L. Stine. I will link to the wiki for anyone who cares about it. I just thought it was really funny that in a mental hospital, they're like, here, have children's horror.
Yeah. And there's like another patient who we'd seen earlier imitating the father, who's like pointing at the wall, and he's like, they're in the walls.
Yeah. And Prue, like, grabs her head in pain, and we see a painting fall, and then a wheelchair hit the wall, and then a TV, a large TV, go flying up over a patient's head. And we go to commercial break. Because of course we do. Why wouldn't we at that point?
We've just caused a commotion. We can't see how that resolves, because that would be too easy.
Yep, and we never see how it resolves.
Nope.
Because when we come back from commercial break, we get an exterior shot of the manor.
Yeah.
And Prue is then crouched down in the corner of the basement again, shaking.
Yeah.
Leo is now sitting on the stairs watching her, and he has, apparently, removed his vest and changed his shirt. Because...
For no reason.
For no reason at all.
Which means he's taking a cue out of Phoebe's handbook.
Yeah, because this shirt is now V-necked, and it's still like the same greenish-gray tone, but there's a red rectangle detail on, like, the left sleeve, and it looks like he is wearing a red V-neck shirt underneath it.
Yeah. Strange wardrobe change.
Yeah, it was very odd. And it's one of those where it doesn't look like... between this scene and the next scene when we see him, it doesn't look like that red V at the top was attached. It looks like it's another shirt underneath, because in this scene it's much smaller of a red V, and the next time we see him it's a slightly larger red V. So it looks like he's wearing two shirts, and one of them just happens to have a red rectangle, so it matchy-matchy. It was an odd thing, and it makes me wonder if they cut out a scene.
I don't know. I doubt it.
But, like, why else would Leo change his shirt? Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Like the girls changing their clothes, they do that all the time. But
yeah, Prue didn't change.
Yeah, Prue didn't change at all.
I don't know.
And Phoebe hasn't changed at all. Piper hasn't changed at all.
You know what it probably was? They probably broke for lunch. Brian Krause spilled something on his shirt, and they had to change for wardrobe before filming again.
No idea. But it doesn't really matter.
It was just probably a lunch mishap. Those happen sometimes.
Those do. They usually have more than one shirt for people, though. But it was just a question of why would Leo have changed his shirt. It doesn't really matter. It's just that thought process. Anyway, shirt craziness aside, because, you know...
Wardrobe.
Wardrobe issues aside, we jump over to the Book of Shadows, sitting on the cafe table in the Wicker Room.
It's on the page for Vinceras, and there's like 4 watercolor drawings of what he looks like in different time periods.
Yeah. Phoebe has removed her sweater again, so that she is just in the orange top. Piper has removed her jacket, and we can now see that the high neck red shirt is sleeveless.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good sleeveless. It wasn't like a turtleneck with no sleeves. It was just a high neck with no sleeves, and so it didn't look bad.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a rumple shirt. It was a smooth shirt, so it was nice. Anyway, we pan around them to see that Father Thomas is there as well.
So they broke him out of the psych ward.
Yeah, again, there are many questions that never get answered.
Mm-hmm. Piper says that Vinceras is an unstoppable hitman who just keeps going until he gets his target, which gets a great line out of Phoebe where she calls him the Energizer Demon.
Yeah, it's a cute play on the Energizer Bunny, who is the mascot of the Energizer Battery Company here in North America. The Energizer Bunny is a pink toy rabbit wearing sunglasses and blue and black striped sandals that beats on a bass drum bearing the Energizer logo. It was created in 1989 as a parody of the Duracell Bunny that came about in 1973. And here's the funniest thing I'll link to the wiki on the website for both of them because it's actually really interesting to learn about. But the Energizer Bunny has been trademarked by Energizer because Duracell let their little trademark thing, somebody forgot to renew the trademark. And in like 2010 or something like that, I don't remember because I didn't put it in my notes. I'm going off of my memory, which we all know is shit. But not too long ago, apparently Energizer tried to sue Duracell for using a pink bunny.
Oh, God.
Because they no longer had the trademark to be able to use a pink bunny in their advertising. It's a fascinating thing to read about. And you're just like, why did I just spend 10 minutes reading about pink toy bunnies? But
I don't know.
I totally did. I spent like 10 minutes just reading these wiki articles.
That's hilarious.
I'm
also,
telling you, man.
I had no idea Duracell had a bunny.
Yeah, in 1973,
Energizer is that good, I guess, or it's that they've
Energizer used it more. Duracell's bunny was never one with a drum, or it might have been with a drum like once, but they used the bunny where it had the battery on its back and it would just run around doing different things, like different sports and different stuff. But they didn't use it a lot. It was basically just in like the 70s. And then when Energizer parodied it by doing it, because Duracell was saying that their battery was better than other batteries, but not alkaline batteries. Mm-hmm. It's whatever, like the zinc ones or whatever. I can't remember what the other one was, but they weren't comparing Duracell batteries to alkaline batteries, but Energizer was.
Okay.
So they were doing slightly different stuff.
Okay.
But like I said, it's fascinating to read about, and if you have a few minutes to just, read a random wiki article, the link will be on the website because it's a lovely little rabbit hole to go down.
Nah.
But ching. Anyway.
And you ignored my badminton joke.
I did.
You monster.
I apologize.
Oy.
If you're lucky, I'll even leave it in.
Good.
So that people can know that I ignored it.
Do it. Anyway, Phoebe asks what they should do, and Father Thomas is like, there's nothing we can do. He'll find us, and we're all gonna die.
Leo walks in. Piper asks about Prue. He says that she hasn't said a word since they got back. Piper says that they have to snap her out of it so they can reverse the spell, and Father Thomas says that the demon is immune to witch's magic. Phoebe then reminds him that the spell that Prue cast originally worked, and Father Thomas is like, yeah, it only worked because he wanted it to for his own benefit.
Gee, bend the rules.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe says that they might not have to reverse the spell because if Prue can learn to channel all the emotions she's feeling, she'd be pretty unstoppable herself. Little bit of foreshadowing.
What?
Yeah. Leo wonders if that's even possible. Father Thomas becomes a doubting Thomas, and he says that Prue won't live to see the night. Mm-hmm. I will probably put a link to Doubting Thomas. It's basically the dude in the Bible who is like, I'm a skeptic, la la la. You know, that sort of thing.
That'd be funny. Uh-huh. How would you say that in Aramaic?
I don't know. I do not know Aramaic. Anyway,
few people do.
Yeah. Piper gets pissed off. Leo tries to calm her down, but she shuts him down. She says that Father Thomas needs to stop with the self-pity of Prue having his power and figure out how to help them. He does a little gulp. Mm-hmm. And we cut to...
I do a little Z-snap because Piper.
Yeah. And we cut to Prue still crouched down in the corner of the basement.
Father Thomas and Leo walk down the stairs, and she yells at them to go away. But Father Thomas, kind of crouches down, and he's like... explaining his own powers to her, and he's like, you have to find an inner calm, and she's like, bitch, what do you think I'm trying to do?
Yeah, she's like, I can't do it. And he tells her to embrace the emotions, and that the feelings are trying to rip her apart because she's trying to fight them the same way that the demon was trying to fight them, but that she's human and therefore can handle human emotions where the demon could not.
Mm-hmm. We cut to the foyer, where the doors fly open.
Both of them. Whoosh. And nothing breaks. And I'm very, very happy of that.
Yeah, I know. And Vinceris walks in.
Phoebe, now, for some reason, has changed her clothes.
and put her hair in pigtails.
Yeah. She's hiding behind the wall in the living room, and she is now in light wash jeans and a 3/4 sleeve shirt in shades of, like, blue and pink with,
And
like,
white,
a bit.
I think.
Yeah, and there's, like, a bit at the bust where it looks like a big paint splotch in blues and pinks. Like, someone just took some paint and went... Bleh.
Honestly, it was a cute shirt.
It was a really cute shirt, but again, it's that, like, why did she change all of a sudden?
Because she was in the clothes she wore all day yesterday.
I get that.
That one makes more sense than Leo's.
That one makes much more sense. Mm-hmm. But again, it was that little moment of, like, okay.
Yeah, but she...
yeah, and her hair is in adorable little pigtails. Mm-hmm. Super duper cute.
Yeah, she calls out to Piper to freeze the demon, which she tries, but he's doing that like, Nicholas thing where he's, like, fighting through it.
Yeah, and so Phoebe, like, runs past him and towards Piper, and he asks where Father Thomas is. Piper says she's going to Plan B.
She reaches behind her, pulls the vase off of the table, and smashes it over his head.
And it doesn't seem to affect him at all. And then he throws her stunt double across the room into the red velvet love seat and the painting that I don't remember ever seeing at the base of the stairs before. And this is where we don't see the door. Because if we do see the door, it is, like, further over than it should have been before.
Yeah. Anyway, Phoebe does this great move where she, like, puts her elbow on the
little circular table.
On the cloth on the table, which has, like, a marble top. Mm-hmm. And she spins around it and kicks him in the head.
Yeah. And he destroys said table by, like, knocking it off. We hear it crash to bits.
Yeah, he flips the fucking table.
Yeah. Which brings our furniture annihilation quotient up to 3 for the season and 29 for the series.
Yep. Phoebe then kicks him in the chin a few more times, and then he grabs her and throws her onto the love seat where Piper is.
Yeah. Phoebe asks if there's a
Actually, and when she lands, Piper lets out, like, a yelp.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Then Phoebe asks if there's a Plan C. Piper tries to freeze him again and yells for Leo to hurry.
We cut back to the basement where Father Thomas takes Prue's hand and tells her that he channeled the empath gift into his hands, and then tells her to channel the gift into her power.
Yeah. She says that she can't, and he tells her that she has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to feel the world's emotions, and that she shouldn't be afraid.
She's got to be feeling fear, though, because, again, she is feeling the world's emotions, and it's unreasonable to expect that no one in the world would be feeling fear at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, hypocritical a bit.
Not necessarily. It's just more the
I'm just like, sweetie, you have to hear the words you're saying as you're saying them to know if you're contradicting yourself. Because you are a little bit.
A little, but it's more he's trying to calm her down and get her to realize that she's stronger than she thinks she is, because these demons keep underestimating these witches.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. We cut back upstairs where Viserys now has Phoebe by the throat.
And he tells her that if she tells him where the empath is, he won't kill her.
And that's when Prue, Leo,
and that's how you know he's a lion bitch.
Yes. That's when Prue, Leo, and Father Thomas walk in, and Prue's hair has been straightened on her way up from the basement.
Yep. It completely lost its curl.
Yep. Prue tells Viserys to come and get him before she uses her power to make him go flying up against the wall. And the drywall breaks behind him, but the pictures stay hanging.
I know. Not just that, but the little table where that phone normally is also breaks.
So, did it?
You see it in another shot in a sec.
Oh, I missed that. Well, alrighty then.
Well, because the shot of him going into the wall was from, like, the hips up, and he went up a little bit so you don't see the table as it breaks. But later you kind of get a shot from, like, by that couch, I think.
Oh, well,
and you can see the table has, like, been smashed into a folding table and fallen over. The table folded. It was not supposed to. But yeah, so now our FAQ is up to 4 for the season.
And 30 for the series.
Yeah, Viserys recovers a little bit and asks how she did that. And she's like, you want to get him? You gotta go through me.
Yeah. She tells Piper and Phoebe to stay where they are. This is her fight.
Yeah.
And then she jumps up.
This entire next sequence, I swear, was lifted out of the Matrix.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was.
Oh my god!
Legitimately,
like, the choreography.
This entire scene, no joke, is essentially a copy.
Yeah.
From The Matrix from 1999, when Neo fights Agent Smith in the subway station after Neo gets shot. It is legitimate, right down to the wire work.
Yeah, I know.
It is a copy of that scene. So
she jumps up and repeatedly kicks him in the chest.
Yeah, and
with her arms tucked in.
It kind of looks like she takes on Phoebe's power of levitation for this scene.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a little weird, but you kind of let it go because, the whole point is that her power is tied to emotion, and therefore she now has all of human emotion, so who knows what can happen with the power.
She can move herself.
Exactly.
Anyway, she grabs the I don't know, it's not a pommel, it's the finial on the railing, and levitates and spins around it and walks on the wall.
Yeah, it's she's punching, she's blocking his punches, whatever, and then she does the jumpy spinny kick thing, kicks him in the face, knocks him prone again.
And Piper and Phoebe are looking both scared and impressed from their spot on the love seat.
Yeah. Vince comes back.
Think that gif of Bill Hader going, "I am both scared and aroused." Like that kind of a look.
Sure. Vince comes back into a standing position just by rising up from laying down.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which it's like they reversed the footage of him falling backwards. And this is apparently, according to the Wikia, this is a power called rising.
Gee, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. Anyway, he says that she can't hurt him because he can handle her powers.
And he grabs her around the neck and lifts her off the ground. But then there's this moment where, she's not panicking. Her air isn't being cut off. She just grabs his wrist and pulls his wrist away from her neck while still, above the ground.
Yeah. She wire work, flips over him, and then kicks him in the head from behind. Just not even, not facing him. Just wire works over.
Cheerleader kick.
Yeah, flips her leg back, kicks him in the head, and then she turns around and blocks his punches easily, literally with one arm behind her back.
Yeah.
And then pushes him to the floor, and he, slides into the rug, and it looks like there's crumbs all over the floor, but I think it's supposed to be the debris from, the vase and the table and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, this is where you can tell, that entire scene, if you have watched The Matrix, that's when you're just this is the fucking Matrix.
Yep.
All right, they stole this fucking scene.
They really did.
But they did it in a good
Except
enough
without
way.
bullets.
Yeah, without bullets flying. But they did it in a good enough way where you're just all
See,
right, I'll allow it.
I would not have picked up on it if she didn't do the one arm behind back, block with the forearm thing. I'm holy shit, Neo.
Yeah, that's exactly, absolutely.
I know.
So
Also the flying and kicking.
Yeah.
Other than those two, I would not have noticed necessarily. I'm not that attuned. It's been a really long time since I've seen the first Matrix movie.
Yep.
So I'm not that well attuned to its choreography.
But yeah, it was definitely you could if you just pop Keanu Reeves with wearing all black and sunglasses, one hand behind his back, just
if it had been Trinity, that kind of thing. No, I mean,
but that
imagine the Matrix, but instead Trinity is fighting Agent Smith. That's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, you can absolutely just pop Keanu Reeves into that scene where, one hand behind his back, just, absentmindedly just blocking punches with the other fist, looking bored as can be. That's exactly what this scene was.
Yeah. He gets up, and this is the shot where you can see the table that got crushed.
Yeah, I must have missed that.
He's kind of in front of it. And he's like, I can handle your powers. And she's like, great, can you handle human pain?
And then she drops her head and astral projects, and Astro Brew jumps into him head first. We see her legs and her feet enter his chest. And it was one of the funniest moments where I'm just that's an interesting little bit of, all right.
I'm pretty sure whoever wrote this was just I can think of what they do. You know what? I just saw The Matrix. That's how we'll vanquish him. The Matrix.
Exactly.
But
we see what looks like something like crawling around inside his body, and then he starts yelling and explodes in a ball of green light, leaving Astral Prue behind.
And real Prue raises her head, smiles at her astral projection. The Astral Prue smiles. And this is like the first time we've seen Prue be aware of her surroundings while astral projecting.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah. We don't know if earlier in the episode, Prue in the attic, when she was astral projecting into the kitchen, was actually awake, I guess, because she comes to with a book in her hand.
I would assume not.
I would assume not, but we don't know, because this is the first time that we are shown that Prue is aware of her surroundings while in astral form as herself, because she's, lifts her head and opens her eyes.
Yeah. Everyone else, we get a shot of, everyone else. They all look surprised, and Piper looks impressed.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And then Astral Prue disappears in a flash of red. Prue says that the voices are gone, and her sisters go on over to her.
Prue apologizes to Father Thomas for not being able to give him back his gift, and he's like, hey, you know what? I had the power inside of me all along. I could do it analog.
Yeah, I could do it without a magic assist.
Mm-hmm. He turned off his targeting computer.
That's cute.
He used the Force.
I like it. Phoebe says that Prue kicked ass, to which Prue emphatically agrees.
Yep.
See what I did there? Emphatically?
Yeah.
We then fade to the sign for P3. People are lined up to get inside, and the now appearing sign is
now not appearing.
Yes, nowhere to be seen. Inside, a band with a female singer is playing, and the only reason that I know the band's name is Idol is because they get an IMDb credit.
That's IDOL.
Yeah. They get an IMDb credit, and the page on the Charmed Wikia says that the song they're singing is called Shameless. But I couldn't find out anything about the band at all.
Yeah.
They weren't credited as special musical guest in the credits that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, no clue. They don't have a wiki page. The only thing that came up when I tried to look up Idol on Wiki is all of the different versions of Pop Idol from all of the different countries. Like
it's one of those words that will lead to 1,000 fucking searches.
Well, yeah, but I even tried just looking up Idol band and nothing came up. So I have no idea about anything. If they didn't
might be a fake band.
Yeah, who knows? If they didn't have a Charmed Wikia page an IMDb page.
They could all be like studio musicians.
They could be.
They're like, we need a band for this. Here, we need someone who will play keyboard, someone who will sing, someone who will play a very, very nice looking electric bass, and someone on drums.
Yeah. Who knows?
And they just gave them a name for the episode.
Yeah, no idea. Anyway, Prue and Phoebe come in. They head toward the bar where Piper is. Prue is wearing a dress with black and gray diagonal stripes with her hair down. No bra, because it's a very low cut, you can see. Phoebe is wearing a clingy and slinky brown dress with her hair pulled up into a high ponytail that's kind of like...
Okay, so like here's the deal with Phoebe's hair. Here's the deal with Phoebe's hair. Her actual hair is in a bun, and from the center of said bun is protruding like a 3-foot-long fake hair extension.
Yeah, it's weird.
And what's even weirder is that part of the bun is coming out of the bun. So it looks like there's a ponytail outside of her ponytail. And I'm just like, why did hair not correct that? This is strange.
It was an odd style.
And she keeps like flicking the hair over her shoulder.
Yeah, it was an odd style, but it's very Phoebe if you think about it.
It really is, yeah. Other than the color of the dress. The color is not very her.
No, but
it's more her for this season, but like for previous, no.
Yeah, no, she's toning down her colors sometimes. Not always, just sometimes. But the style is very Phoebe.
It feels like she's trying to make herself look tanner.
Could very well be.
Or trying to like accent the fact that she's tanner or something.
Could very well be. Though I do think it's funny, and I didn't mention it before, but when we saw her in the very beginning... in the brown shirt with the feathers on, when we see her walking out of her room, we can see that they have put makeup over her tattoo. on the tattoo on her back that she had.
Yeah, I did not notice that.
Yeah, I noticed it, and
I was too busy trying to figure out how to put on the strap.
Yeah, I noticed it. I forgot to put it in my notes, but thinking about this dress made me think of that shirt, which made me remember that. But yeah, you can see they've covered it with some makeup, and you can kind of see it peeking through just a little bit because the way that the film captured it, it wasn't perfectly color corrected because it's a very dark tattoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So she's in this like clingy, slinky dress, and she's also not wearing a bra. We see Piper behind the bar, and she is in a dark pink sequined dress. I don't think we see her anything from the waist down, so I'm assuming it's a dress.
Yeah,
it could just be a top. Bar. She has her hair half up, half down, and she's got that little diamond necklace on again. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also, like, Prue's hair is now fully straightened.
Yep.
It looks really nice.
Yep. And we shall fast track one last time for this episode.
Prue, who has finally been to the fucking dentist, sticks out her tongue and asks if Piper can unfreeze it because the Novocaine hasn't worn off.
Yeah. It was kind of funny, and Piper's just like, you're lucky the dentist even saw you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where you think about that and go,
yeah.
Like, yeah, because, you were acting a little weird.
Mm-hmm. A little bit. Yeah, Phoebe asks how Prue vanquished Viserys.
And Prue says that Father Thomas told her that Viserys couldn't handle human emotion, so she asked her projected into his body, carrying the emotional baggage of half the city, and forced him to feel it all.
Uh-huh.
Because, that's how you do that.
Yeah. Leo comes up. He's wearing a long-sleeve blue polo-style shirt.
Yeah, it's like... It's got the collar and the buttons of a polo, but it's long sleeve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So a Henley? Is that what that's called?
I have no idea. If I knew what it was called, I would have called it that.
Okay.
It's a polo style. That's all I know.
Whatever. Yeah.
Anyway.
He says that he pulled some strings with the archdiocese and that Father Thomas is going to be allowed to return to his church.
Yeah, to which I'm just going, really? Do you really want the dude who was put in a mental hospital to come back to the same church? Like, really?
Well, they did lose that lady, so
just
they're a little understaffed at the Mo.
Yeah, I feel bad for Father Thomas because that people are petty bitches.
Oh yeah.
And they're just gonna be like, he was in a mental hospital. Do we really want him to be our pastor? Like, I don't know about this.
Pastor passed.
Yeah. Just saying. Anyway, Phoebe wonders who sent the signs to Prue. Prue says that it was either the Triad or Balthazar, and that they need to be more careful the next time they see signs. Piper then asks if she's going to miss the power boost that she had, and Prue says that she will, but she enjoyed the taste of what her future powers will be like, and that she's on the right path.
And the path is labeled M. It's an empath.
Oh, that was painful.
Anyway.
That was painful.
She then asks Phoebe where her and Cole stand, to which Phoebe has no idea, but says she's going to go find out.
Right now.
Yeah.
And she grabs her purse and walks off.
So she only came to P3 to leave P3.
Well, no, she came to hang out, and then she's like, you know what? I don't need to hang out with my sisters. I'm going to go see what's up with my man.
Yep. Anyway, we cut to Cole's apartment as Cole opens his door to Phoebe,
who is now wearing a tan jacket over her dress. And he is wearing a white t-shirt under an open blue button-down shirt.
Yeah, like he was getting dressed for work or something.
Yeah. They exchange hellos. Phoebe says that she almost didn't think that he would be there.
And he tells her that an associate didn't do what he was told, so he's still got work to do.
She walks in, asking if it's a good thing or a bad thing. He says it's both, and they hug. And we end on a shot of her snuggled up into his chest with her eyes closed, smiling.
And him looking slightly worried.
And we go to the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the credits over, we are on to our ratings for the episode. Would you like to go first?
I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 naked nose rubs. Wait, hang on. I want to amend that. It's naked nose rubs. I know it's not Prue. I'm still going to use naked.
All right. 8.5 out of 10 naked nose rubs. Mm-hmm. Got it. I am giving it an 8 out of 10 Matrix fight scenes. So, with our ratings done, we are on to our outfits. Do you have a favorite outfit?
I really like Prue's outfit. Like, it's...
Which one?
The one she wears for
most of the episode?
The entire episode. pretty much the entire episode. It's a very flattering cut of shirt. The jeans are nice. She's actually wearing a belt for once.
Yeah.
Probably because she was doing wire work and they needed something to anchor it to.
Possibly. Yeah.
But yeah.
It was a nice outfit, though I really enjoyed that final dress. Like,
honestly, I've forgotten it already. I watched this episode yesterday. I've already forgotten that dress.
Yeah, it's like blue and gray and just diagonal stripes, and it just looked really nice on her. Like, she's only in it for a minute, and I don't think we ever see her in it again. But it just looked really nice on her. I also liked Piper's red shirt once she takes off the jacket. Because I really enjoyed that shirt. It looked very nice on her with the fact that it wasn't like a turtleneck. It was just a high neck, and it fit her really well. And for Phoebe, I liked the orange shirt that she was in for most of the episode. But I really kind of enjoyed the orange sweater the first time we see her in the sweater with it zipped up.
Yeah.
Because I just thought that looked really cool. So, with our ratings done and our outfits done, that means we are on to social media.
Yay! Social media time.
Ding! You can find all of the links to everything that I put up there at our website, which is charmchats.com. You can email us any questions, comments, or queries to charmchats@gmail.com. You can
find us over at Twitter and Tumblr at CharmChatsPod.
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon as CharmChats. And, you can also find us on iTunes. And if you could rate and review us on iTunes, seeing as we are now, 3 seasons going on this, it'd be very cool to get some more ratings out there.
That would be lovely.
It would be,
because also the lovely. iTunes rating system is weird.
It is so weird.
It's strangely weighted.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yes, it's not even.
Correct.
I can't even. iTunes can't even.
Indubitably. Anyway, I believe that's it. We don't have any emails to get to at the moment. We don't have anything. Well, we kind of do.
Holly being a badass on Twitter.
Yeah. We have been asked to weigh in, I guess, on
the
Holly Marie Combs.
The prospect. Okay, so the prospect of there being a reboot, it's still going around. I guess CBS or
no, I think it was CW. But see, here's the issue with us talking about this now in this episode is we are recording this episode
months in advance of its release.
Yeah, at the end of January. This episode, let's see.
This episode won't come out until probably March.
Yeah. So it's been a while since this all happened. Therefore, us, as much as we want to talk about current events,
we're not really that into editing our commentary about current events into previous episodes. That'd be weird.
Yeah, and that would be so much more work.
Yeah.
If we had enough money coming in that we could pay somebody else to do it, then possibly. But it's not going to happen. That's why the first time...
Currently, you're our producer.
I am indeed. I am the producer. I am the editor. It's a whole big thing. That's why in the last episode that you heard is when we mentioned the Discord server that we have.
Yeah.
Asking if you would like to join said Discord server if you become a patron. But that Discord server has been live now for a while.
Yep.
By the time this episode comes out. So,
which will give everyone a chance to figure out, hey, what the fuck is Discord?
Yeah.
Which is why if you want active commentary about shit that's going on, go to our Twitter.
Yeah,
that's what it's for.
You can absolutely ask us stuff on Twitter. You can send us emails, and we will absolutely answer that. I didn't really answer the tweet asking us to cover Holly Marie Combs tweeting about the new update reboot thing because the question that was
someone commented, or I guess the press release or some shit, whatever, was oh, it's gonna have, now with feminism. And Holly's like, we didn't do that before?
Yeah, basically. But the exact Twitter message that was asked of me was about an episode where apparently Holly and the other girls were apparently given or asked to like help with lines and stuff like that. And so apparently in some episode, Holly is the one that came up with a line, and we haven't gotten to that episode yet.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I didn't bother responding, because it's like, well, we haven't gotten to that episode yet. So I might mention it when we get there, but that's not going to be for another few months.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not like, we don't have a whole lot of, timing when it comes to trying to be on point with the political stuff or the climate of Twitter. If you have a specific question and you ask it on Twitter and I can answer it, or you email it to me and I can't answer it, then I will do that right then. But, it gets a little hard for us to try and stay on topic when we record so far in advance.
Yeah.
Due to life schedules and such.
Mm-hmm. We're less hot topic. We're more Ann Taylor Loft.
Nice.
Yeah. In terms of being on trend.
Yeah. Nice. So just, I wanted to put that out there, of the fact that we do see your tweets, and if we don't respond to them, there is a reason that we don't respond to them. But don't stop sending them. We love hearing from you, and that's why the Discord server is a thing that we decided we wanted to do, because we get to talk to people quickly and sometimes in real time, like voice chatting and stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because while we do have a fair bit of fans, we don't have a whole lot of people on the Discord server, and
nope.
So, and Kendra's so rarely ever on a computer, because she's usually, reading a book or working or...
Well, I'm on my phone all the time, but, in terms of responding to Charm Chat stuff, I just don't get to it.
Yeah, no, I'm the one
you get to it way before I do.
Yep, I am the one that responds, because I have less of a busy life, but my life is much more structured.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Our dynamics are very weird, but it works for us.
True.
Yeah. So... that being said, I think we're done.
Yes.
So until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Prue, they've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next time with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.